The laughter and clinking of wine glasses filled the air, the scent of fresh-baked hors d'oeuvres lingering in the open concept kitchen. Olivia Carter stood by the island, her fingers wrapped around a champagne flute, taking in the warmth of what was supposed to be a celebration of her hard-earned success. The 3-bedroom house in Pasadena had been her dream for years. A decade of grueling late nights, impossible deadlines, and sacrificing vacations had led her to this very moment, but the moment was unraveling before her eyes. Her stepmother, Linda Parker, stood across from her, waving a legal document in Olivia's face like it was some kind of joke. "Logan needs this more than you do," Linda announced, her voice laced with exasperation, as if Olivia was a petulant child throwing a tantrum. "He has a baby coming. You have, well, just yourself." The words hit Olivia like a physical blow. Her grip tightened around her glass as her stomach twisted with disbelief. Across the room, her stepbrother, Logan Parker, smirked, leaning lazily against the kitchen counter, swirling a whiskey in his glass. "The paperwork is done." Her stepfather, Richard Parker, chimed in nonchalantly, not even meeting Olivia's eyes. "Logan is the legal owner now. You should be happy you're helping your brother start his family." The air in the room shifted. Conversations quieted as guests, friends, extended family, began exchanging awkward glances. They had come here to celebrate Olivia's achievement, but instead they were witnessing a family ambush, a decade of sacrifice. For nothing. Olivia felt the blood drain from her face. This has to be a mistake. This is my house," she managed to say, her voice barely above a whisper. "We had an agreement. I paid the down payment. This was my money." Her stepmother let out a dramatic sigh, rolling her eyes as if she were tired of Olivia's whining. "Oh, Olivia, stop being so dramatic. You'll save up again. Logan needs stability." Stability? A bitter laugh threatened to escape Olivia's lips. Logan had never been stable a day in his life. The golden child versus the responsible one growing up, Olivia had learned one brutal truth. Logan could do no wrong in Linda's eyes. When he crashed his first car at 17, Linda had bought him another. When he dropped out of college, twice, Linda had called it finding himself. When he piled up debt from failed business ventures, Richard and Linda had refinanced their home to bail him out. Meanwhile, Olivia had been the responsible one, the self-sufficient one, the one who never asked for anything. And this was her reward? Her best friend, Emily Thompson, who had been quietly standing beside her, gripped her wine glass so tightly Olivia thought it might shatter. "Are you fucking kidding me?" Emily hissed under her breath. Olivia stared at the contract in Linda's hand, her mind racing. She had trusted them. 6 months ago, her parents had called her in tears, saying they were going to lose their home. "We have nowhere else to go," Linda had cried over the phone. So Olivia did what she always did. She put her family first. She had taken her entire life savings, $175,000, and used it to buy this house, under the agreement that it would be in her name. She had trusted them blindly, and now they had signed it away to Logan. The weight of betrayal. The whispers around the room grew louder as the tension thickened. Aunt Diane, Olivia's only real supporter in the family, stood in the corner shaking her head in silent disapproval. Logan, sensing the rising tension, lifted his glass in mock celebration. "Well, since we're already here, might as well enjoy the party," he said smugly. Olivia's stomach twisted. How could they all just stand there, watching, not saying anything? She turned to her stepfather. "Richard, tell me you didn't sign off on this." He finally looked at her, but his gaze was apathetic, like he had already moved on from the conversation. "It's done, Olivia," he said simply. "You'll land on your feet. You always do." A sharp wave of nausea hit her. She had given up so much for them. She had postponed her dream of moving to New York for her career. She had missed vacations, holidays, countless nights of rest, all to make sure she had enough saved. She had believed, foolishly, that this would finally prove her worth to them. But it had never been about worth. It had always been about Logan. Her hands trembled. She felt like she was going to either scream or throw something across the room. The breaking point. Before Olivia could speak, she felt her phone vibrate in her pocket. Frowning, she pulled it out, expecting another condescending text from Linda. But instead, her eyes widened. It was from Logan's wife, Anna. A single message. "I found something weird in the legal documents. Can we talk privately?" Her heart pounded. Something inside her told her this wasn't over. As she stepped inside the cafe, she spotted Anna sitting in a corner booth, anxiously stirring a cup of tea. She looked tired, her 6-month pregnancy evident beneath the oversized sweater she wore. Anna looked up and immediately relaxed when she saw Olivia. "Thank you for meeting me," Anna said softly as Olivia slid into the seat across from her. "I didn't know if I should, but then I realized if you're reaching out to me, it must be serious." Anna hesitated, then reached into her purse and pulled out a manila folder. "I found these in Logan's desk," she whispered, sliding the documents across the table. Olivia's pulse quickened as she opened the folder. At first glance, it was the same property agreement she had signed, but then she noticed something different. Her stomach dropped. Her signature was there, but it wasn't her handwriting. The edges of the ink looked too smooth, too perfectly placed, like it had been digitally copied. "Oh my God," Olivia muttered under her breath. She flipped through more papers, her eyes scanning every detail. Then she saw it, the letter from Logan and Richard's lawyer. Her breath caught in her throat as she read the words. "Be advised, transferring the deed without Ms. Carter's consent constitutes fraud under California real estate law. They knew. They knew it was illegal, and they did it anyway. They committed fraud." Olivia clenched her fists, the cafe's warm lighting doing little to calm the rage building in her chest. "How long have you known about this?" she asked, her voice low and controlled. Anna swallowed, looking guilty. "A few weeks," she admitted. At first, I didn't understand what I was looking at. Logan kept everything locked up, but I started noticing things. The way he and Richard would whisper about the house, about the paperwork. "So why now?" Olivia pressed. "Why are you telling me this now?" Anna looked down, placing a protective hand over her stomach. "Because I don't want my baby growing up around this," she said, her voice cracking. Olivia studied her carefully. For years, she had assumed Anna was just like Logan, complicit in his entitled, leeching behavior. But now? Anna looked just as trapped as Olivia had felt her entire life. "I should have said something sooner," Anna whispered. "But if Logan finds out I gave this to you—" Olivia leaned forward, her voice firm. "You did the right thing, Anna. And trust me, Logan has no idea what's coming." Building the case. By the time Olivia stormed into Emily's law office, her hands were shaking with fury. She slammed the fraudulent paperwork onto Emily's desk. "Read this," she snapped. Emily, sharp, calculated, and never one to back down from a fight, picked up the documents, her eyes narrowing as she scanned the pages. Her face darkened. "This isn't just a breach of trust, Olivia. This is felony-level fraud." She turned the papers toward Olivia, pointing at the forged signature. This alone could get them locked up. And this letter? Emily shook her head. Their lawyer explicitly warned them. They knowingly committed fraud. Olivia swallowed hard. "I want my house back," she said through clenched teeth. "And I want them to understand they can't treat me like this anymore." Emily smirked. "Then it's time to bring in my brother." James Miller, the legal hammer. An hour later, Olivia sat in a sleek conference room as James Miller, Emily's older brother, a top real estate attorney, flipped through the paperwork. Unlike Emily, who thrived on fiery courtroom battles, James was methodical, precise, calm but dangerous. Finally, he set the papers down and folded his hands. "They really messed up," he said, a slight smirk playing at the corner of his lips. "How bad?" Olivia asked. Bad enough that if we move forward, they won't just lose the house. Logan and Richard could be facing serious charges: fraud, identity theft, financial misrepresentation. The DA would love this case. Olivia exhaled sharply. I don't want them in prison, she admitted, surprising herself. I just want my house back. James nodded. Then we'll start by filing an emergency injunction to freeze all modifications to the property. That stops Logan from doing anything reckless. And after that? Olivia asked. James's smirk widened. Then we go to war. Triggering the breaking point. Later that night, Olivia sat parked in front of her stolen house, her fingers tapping rhythmically against the steering wheel. Through the massive bay window, she could see Logan laughing, a beer in hand as he talked animatedly to a few friends. Her stomach turned. Then, as if the universe wanted to push her over the edge, she heard him say it. I'm thinking of knocking down that wall, maybe getting a pool out back. Olivia felt her entire body go cold. He had zero remorse. No guilt, no shame. He was redecorating a house he stole. She calmly stepped out of her car, crossed the front yard, and entered through the unlocked back door. She moved through the hallway straight to the filing cabinet where Linda kept all the important paperwork. Her fingers worked fast as she shuffled through the files. Then she found it, the original deed. Her name, clear as day. She tucked it into her purse, heart hammering in her chest. Then her phone vibrated in her pocket. A text from James. I'll file the lawsuit in the morning. Get ready. Olivia stared at the screen for a long moment, then looked back at the house that should have been hers. Something inside her settled. They have no idea who they just messed with, she muttered under her breath. Cliffhanger. Olivia texts James at midnight. Let's take these bastards down. The morning sunlight barely peeked through Olivia Carter's blinds as she sat at her kitchen table, clutching a steaming mug of coffee. Her fingers drummed against the wooden surface, her thoughts racing. She had barely slept, her mind consumed with what was about to unfold. In just a few hours, Logan would be served with legal papers that would shatter his delusion of untouchability. A notification flashed on her phone. James. Injunction filed. Expect fireworks. A slow, satisfied smile crept onto Olivia's face. She had spent years being the reliable daughter, the forgiving sister, the one who never fought back. Not anymore. Today, the war began. The court filing. Olivia fires the first shot. The moment Logan Parker received the court summons, the entire neighborhood knew about it. A process server arrived at his house mid-morning, catching him barefoot in basketball shorts, a protein shake in hand. Logan Parker? The server asked, holding out the documents. Yeah, that's me. Who's asking? You've been served. Logan grabbed the thick stack of papers, his lazy smirk faltering as he scanned the first few lines. Notice of emergency injunction petition for fraudulent transfer reversal. Mortgage fraud investigation. Pending. His expression twisted from confusion to pure fury. What the fuck is this? He barked. But the process server was already walking away. Logan's voice boomed through the house. Linda! Richard! Get in here! Meanwhile, at Olivia's apartment, Emily and James sat across from Olivia at her kitchen table, their laptops open, legal pads covered in notes. All right, James began, pushing his glasses up the bridge of his nose. Here's what's happening next. The injunction prevents Logan from making any changes to the house or selling it. The lawsuit forces him to prove his legal right to the property, which he can't do because he forged Olivia's signature. The fraud investigation is in motion, meaning Logan's financial records are being scrutinized. And how soon until he realizes he's fucked? Olivia asked, leaning back in her chair. James smirked. Oh, he's realizing it right now. Logan's meltdown. The news spreads. Back at the house, Logan was losing it. Linda and Richard hovered in the kitchen, reading through the legal papers as Logan paced back and forth, cursing under his breath. That ungrateful bitch, he spat. She's actually suing us. Linda gasped, clutching her chest like she was about to faint. She wouldn't do that, she insisted. She loves this family. Richard rubbed his temples, already seeing the cracks forming in their plan. Well, she did, Logan snapped. And now we're screwed. Do you understand what this means? Linda shook her head, still in denial. It's just a misunderstanding. We'll talk to her. She'll calm down. Just then, Logan's phone buzzed. He grabbed it off the counter, expecting another rant from Olivia. Instead, it was his wife, Anna. Anna, we need to talk. Now. His stomach twisted. He didn't know it yet, but his wife had already turned against him. Public exposure. Olivia's story goes viral. Later that afternoon, Olivia sat in her office at work, trying to focus on emails, but her phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Emily's name flashed on the screen. You need to check Twitter, right, now. Frowning, Olivia opened the app, and there it was. Justice for Olivia was trending. Somehow, her story had gotten out. A local news article titled, "Woman Betrayed by Family Over Her Own House," had spread like wildfire. People were furious. Comments flooded in. This is disgusting. Logan is a parasite. I hope Olivia takes every last cent from them. She worked for that house. They stole it. Her phone buzzed again. Aunt Diane. I just saw the news. Proud of you, kiddo. Don't back down. Olivia took a deep breath. This wasn't just a private family matter anymore. The world was watching. Linda's last-ditch guilt trip. That evening, as Olivia walked into her apartment, she found her mother waiting outside the door. Linda looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes, her posture slumped like a woman who had lost everything. Olivia, honey, she started, her voice trembling. You have to stop this. Olivia crossed her arms. You mean stop fighting for what's mine? Linda's lip quivered. This will tear our family apart. Olivia scoffed. That's rich, coming from you. You didn't seem too worried about tearing the family apart when you handed my house over to Logan. Linda reached for Olivia's hand, but she stepped back. We can fix this, Linda pleaded. You don't need lawyers. We'll work it out as a family. Olivia's stomach twisted. She had waited her whole life to hear her mother acknowledge her feelings. But now she could see through the act. You're not sorry for what you did, Olivia said coldly. You're just sorry you got caught. Linda's shoulders slumped. Olivia, please. You wouldn't send your own family to court, would you? Olivia inhaled sharply. You stopped being my family the second you decided my life savings meant nothing to you. She opened her apartment door and shut it in Linda's face. Linda stood frozen for a few seconds before finally walking away. Olivia didn't watch her go. She had more important things to focus on. Final bombshell, the mortgage fraud. The next morning, Olivia was mid-meeting at work when her phone buzzed. It was James. We found something else, he said, his voice deadly serious. Olivia tensed. How bad? James sighed. Logan took out a second mortgage, in your name, without your permission. For a long moment, Olivia couldn't breathe. The room around her blurred. This wasn't just about stealing her house anymore. This was identity theft, bank fraud. Logan had just made the biggest mistake of his life. Cliffhanger. Olivia slowly set down her coffee cup, her pulse steadying. Well then, she murmured, I guess it's time to burn it all down. The sound of Logan Parker's angry voice echoed through the halls of his now precariously owned home. His hands trembled with rage as he clutched his phone. This is bullshit, he roared into the receiver. Fix it now! On the other end, his financial advisor sighed, the fatigue in his voice evident. Logan, you committed fraud. The bank has flagged the second mortgage as illegal. If Olivia presses charges... If, Logan interrupted, pacing back and forth. You think she won't? She's ruining my life. No, Logan, the man said grimly. You did that all on your own. The call cut off, leaving Logan alone in his crumbling empire. His credit was frozen. His bank accounts were under investigation. His wife had left him. And now, his house, the one he stole, was about to slip through his fingers. Olivia goes on the offensive. At James Miller's law office, Olivia sat calmly across from her legal team, her eyes cold and unyielding. "We're moving forward with the fraud charges," James announced. "I want everything on the table," Olivia replied. "I want every single financial document pulled. If he's been playing dirty, I want proof." James smirked. "Already ahead of you." Across the table, Emily nodded approvingly. "And if he tries to settle?" Emily asked. Olivia's jaw clenched. "We don't negotiate with thieves." Logan loses everything. The spiral begins. 2 days later, Logan woke up to his worst nightmare. His bank accounts were locked, his credit score had tanked, and the authorities were officially investigating him. His lawyer, a disheveled middle-aged man in a wrinkled suit, sat across from him in his home office, flipping through the papers with a grim expression. "Logan," he said carefully, "we need to talk about your options." "Options?" Logan scoffed. "My only option is keeping this damn house." The lawyer leaned forward. "That's not going to happen." Logan's chest tightened. Number. "We can fight this." The lawyer sighed. "Your mother and Richard signed documents transferring the house to you illegally. The bank sees that as mortgage fraud. The court sees that as theft. And if Olivia wants to pursue the felony charges, you could be looking at serious prison time." Logan felt his stomach churn. "She wouldn't do that," he whispered, his voice suddenly less sure. "She already did," the lawyer corrected, and for the first time, Logan felt true fear. The courtroom showdown. A week later, Olivia sat in the Superior Court of California, her posture strong and composed as Logan was brought forward. The judge, a no-nonsense woman in her 60s, flipped through the case files before leveling her unforgiving gaze at Logan. "Mr. Parker," she began, "do you understand the charges against you?" Logan swallowed hard, but his arrogance hadn't fully cracked yet. "Your Honor, this is all a big misunderstanding." The judge raised an unimpressed brow. "A misunderstanding? You forged legal documents, committed mortgage fraud, and stole a home from your own sister. That doesn't sound like an accident." The courtroom murmured. A few seats behind Olivia, Aunt Diane smirked, whispering to Emily, "I could watch this all day." Olivia remained silent, unwavering as James stood up. "Your Honor, my client is seeking immediate return of the property, financial restitution for legal damages, and full acknowledgement of fraud committed by Mr. Parker." Logan whipped his head around to glare at Olivia, his jaw tight. "You're ruining my life," he spat. Olivia's lips curved into a small smile. "No, Logan," she said simply. "You did that all by yourself." The judge banged the gavel. "I am ruling in favor of Ms. Carter. The house will be transferred back immediately, and the defendant will be required to pay restitution in the amount of $50,000. The courtroom erupted. Olivia exhaled, finally feeling the weight lifting off her chest, but she wasn't done yet. Final nail in the coffin. Olivia's last move. 3 days after the ruling, Logan showed up at Olivia's apartment, disheveled, desperate. "Olivia, please, we need to talk." Olivia crossed her arms, blocking the doorway. "There's nothing left to say, Logan. You don't understand," he ran a hand through his hair, looking truly panicked. "The money, the house, I have nothing left." "That's not my problem," Olivia said coolly. "At least let Mom and Richard stay in the house," Logan pleaded. "They have nowhere to go." A cold smile formed on Olivia's lips. "Oh, don't worry," she said, her tone laced with finality. "They won't have to worry about the house much longer." Logan blinked. What do you mean?" Olivia tilted her head, amused at his confusion. "I sold it." Logan's face drained of all color. You what?" "The house is gone, Logan," Olivia said simply. A developer bought it. He's turning it into luxury apartments. So no, you're not staying, and neither are Linda and Richard. The realization hit Logan like a train. He had spent months fighting for something that was no longer his to claim. "You're a monster," he whispered, his voice hoarse. Olivia shrugged. "No, Logan, I'm just finally playing by your rules." She shut the door in his face, and with that, the last piece of her old life crumbled away. Cliffhanger. Olivia steps onto her balcony, staring at the sunset over her new life, one where she is finally free. The morning sun bathed the quiet streets of Santa Barbara in a golden glow as Olivia Carter stood on the wraparound porch of her new lakeside cottage, inhaling the crisp, salty air. She had done it. She had fought back, won, and finally freed herself from the toxic grip of her so-called family. The house Logan stole? Gone. Sold to a developer who would demolish it and build a luxury complex. Logan, broke, disgraced, and abandoned. Linda and Richard, forced to sell their home with nowhere left to run. And Olivia? She had never felt lighter. She reached for her coffee, enjoying the peace that had once felt so impossible. And then her phone buzzed. A voicemail notification. She didn't need to check the caller ID. She already knew who it was. With a slow smirk, she pressed play. Linda's final plea. "Olivia." Her stepmother's voice cracked on the other end. I just heard about the house. You really sold it? You didn't even give us a chance to figure something out?" Olivia took another sip of coffee. "Sweetheart, please, we need to talk. Things are bad. Richard and I, we lost everything. We don't know where to go. We're your family." The old Olivia would have felt guilty. The old Olivia would have picked up the phone, offered them money, let them guilt trip her into helping them. Again. But that Olivia was gone. Linda's voice dropped to a whisper. "You wouldn't let your own mother be homeless, would you?" Olivia let the silence stretch. Then she deleted the voicemail without responding. And just like that, Linda Parker no longer existed in her world. Logan hits rock bottom. Meanwhile, across town, Logan Parker sat in the break room of an electronics store, staring at his paycheck in disbelief. $12.50 an hour. It was humiliating. A year ago, he was drinking expensive whiskey in a stolen house, mocking Olivia, believing he had won. Now, he was a retail employee, living in a tiny studio apartment, barely able to afford rent. The worst part? Anna had officially divorced him. She had moved back to her parents' house in Seattle with their newborn son, filing for full custody. Logan had nothing left, and for the first time in his spoiled, entitled life, he had to face the consequences of his own actions. He pulled out his phone, hesitating before dialing. After 3 rings, a cold, familiar voice answered. "What do you want, Logan?" "Olivia." He swallowed his pride, gripping the phone so tight his knuckles turned white. I just wanted to talk." Silence. Then Olivia sighed. "Make it quick." Logan took a shaky breath. "I lost everything." "I know," Olivia said flatly. He clenched his jaw. "You don't have to sound so happy about it." "I'm not happy," Olivia corrected. "I just don't care." That stung. "Look, Olivia, I know I messed up, but I'm trying, okay? I got a job. I'm not scamming people anymore. I'm trying to fix things." For a moment, Olivia said nothing. Then, "That's good, Logan. But that's your problem now, not mine." Logan blinked. "So that's it? You're just done with me?" A dry chuckle. "Logan, I was done with you the second you signed my house away like I didn't exist." His stomach twisted. "You really hate me that much?" Olivia took a deep breath. "Number, I don't hate you, Logan. I just don't need you anymore." Click. She hung up. And for the first time in his pathetic life, Logan Parker was truly alone. Olivia's new beginning with Logan and Linda out of her life, Olivia threw herself into something she had put off for far too long, herself. Her new cottage was a dream come true. She had planted a garden in the backyard, something Linda had always mocked as a waste of time. The first sprouts of tomatoes, cucumbers, and lavender were already blooming. She joined a book club, made new friends, and for the first time in years, she felt like she could breathe. Even at work, people noticed the change in her. Her boss, a powerful executive who had always overlooked her in meetings, suddenly took interest in her ideas. And just like that, Olivia was promoted to senior marketing director. Emily had laughed when she heard the news. Not only did you destroy Logan's life, but you got a raise doing it. Iconic. Olivia had just shrugged, smiling. Turns out, when you stop letting people steal your energy, you can do a lot more with it. Family tries one last time. A few months later, Aunt Diane invited Olivia to brunch. "Your mother tried to talk to me," Diane said casually, sipping her coffee. Olivia raised an eyebrow. "Oh," Diane smirked. "She was telling the entire grocery store about how you abandoned your poor mother in her time of need." Olivia laughed. "And what did you say?" Diane took another sip, completely unbothered. "I told her, well, maybe if you hadn't stolen her house, she wouldn't have had to cut you off." Olivia grinned. "And what did she say to that?" Diane leaned back, smirking. Nothing. She just stood there like a fish out of water. The two women clinked their coffee cups together, toasting to a family-free future. A year later, the best revenge. A full year had passed since Olivia had cut her family out of her life. She had thought she would miss them. She didn't. Her career, thriving. Her friendships, stronger than ever. Her garden, blooming beautifully. Even Emily teased her. "You're basically a local legend at work. The woman who sued her family, won, and got promoted." "It's not about revenge anymore," Olivia admitted, watching the sunset from her porch. "Then what is it about?" Emily asked. Olivia smiled. "Freedom." She leaned back, watching the fireflies dance in her garden. She had spent years trying to earn her family's love. Now, she was finally giving that love to herself. Final line. The best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about getting better.